Namaste and welcome. Welcome to our Sunday Sangha, to our Sunday meditation. Let us begin with a short meditation. Focus your attention at the sun center. And close your eyes for a moment and take 3 long, deep breaths. O great Spirit, saints, sages of all times, of all places, beloved pathmakers of old, Namaste. May our path be clear during this time. May we hear that which we need to hear. May our beings be lit, that the way may be clear. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Namah Shivaya Namaha. Om Saraswataye Namaha. Om Shri Hanumanji Namaha. Om Shri Lakshmaye Namaha. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Namaste. The Dharma of Mohan, the Dharma of Mohan the Barber, part 1. You remember Mohan the Barber? Mohan, who lives 2 streets off the Ganga. You know, Mohan, the one whose barber shop is between the incense cellar and the flower cellar, just at the top of the steps to the Ganga. That's the Mohan we're talking about today. Well, let me tell you, there was a day. It was a day to remember. A day that Mohan would remember his whole life long. But we have to go back to an earlier day. The day of Mohan's birthday. Early at sunrise on Mohan's birthday, his mom woke him. Mohanji, time to get up. Today's a special day. Mohan rolls out of bed and begins to chant. And Mama says, today you begin a new life. Today is your 15th birthday, your 15th anniversary around the sun. Oh, Mohan's excited. Thinks he's going to get a good present today. Mama makes a nice breakfast. Papa comes and sits him down and says, you're 15. We've made arrangements for you to go study with Shivadas. And Mohan's heart, Shivadas. Shivadas? The Shivadas? Oh, yes, Mohan. You're going to go apprentice with Shivadas, our friend, the great barber of the Ganga, the great barber of the Ganga, the greatest barber of all the shores and all the barbers along the Ganga, Shivadas. You know Shivadas, who lives 2 streets off the Ganga, whose barber shop is between the incense seller and the flower seller. That Shiva Das you're going to go study with. Our beloved friend, Shiva Das. Now, if you know your Sanskrit, I should be telling you something here. Shiva Das, the great servant of Shiva, is Shiva Das. So the story goes, Mohan goes down to Shiva Das's barbershop. He's very happy. He's known Shiva Das since he was a little baby and has always found great joy in being with him. Oh, Mama and Papa bless him, and off he goes. Gets to the shop, and so it begins. He brushes the hair that Shiva Das shaves. He learns to go out in front and say namaste, ji, to all the passersby. It's chai for Shiva Das. He learns to speak friendly to the neighbors, to the others who live nearby. And so the days go on. In time, Shiva Das learns to sharpen the razors. And so the days go on. In time, Shiva Das teaches Mohan to sharpen the razors. And the days go on. In time, Mohan learns there's a secret that Shiva Das has. Mohan learns, he watches, he sees, and his heart becomes filled with joy, for he sees that everyone who enters leaves chanting Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Shri Hanumanji Namaha, Om Shri Hanumanji Namaha, Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha, Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha, Shri Krishna Govinda Hare Murare, Hinata Naraya Navasudeva. Some magic happens. Mohan sees. And he learns. And the days go by. And the days become years. And as is the way, sun rises, sun sets. One morning, the sunrise, just after the sunrise, Mohan walks into the shop. And Shiva Das is there. What a nice day it is today, Shiva Das says. Oh, it's a nice day today. You hear a little tingle. Ring, 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 ring. And out of his pocket, Shiva Das pulls his 2 keys and hands them to Mohan. Mohan, my most beloved student, my most beloved son of my heart, my most beloved Chela, you have learned well. And now these 2 keys, they belong to you, Mohan. The key to the house 2 streets away from the Ganga, and the key to this shop right at the top of the stairs, right along the waterfront. They are yours, and everything that's in them is yours. For it is time for me to go to be free. Mohan, namaste, Shivadas. Thank you. Thank you for everything you have given to me, for everything you have taught me all these years. Thank you. And with that, Shivadas vanishes right into thin air. Something magical about Shivadas, we think. So now you know how Mohan became the barber. He became the barber on the Gangas. But Shivadas was the barber on the Ganga. He was the great barber on the Ganga. How would Mohan become the barber along the Ganga? Well, now you know how he became the barber. But how did he become the great barber? The secret of Mohan the barber. Part 1, or part 2, if you like. This is part 2 of part 1. Well, what makes a great barber? Location, location, location. Location, location, location makes a great business, maybe. And Mohan had a great location because Mother Ganga was a destination location. For the locals, Mother Ganga was a destination every morning. But you know, you don't always get your head shaved every morning. And, you know, in India, sometimes the sannyasis like to keep their beards. They like to keep their locks. Some people like to shave, but you need more than locals. But location, location, location. The pilgrims all walked along the Quasset, right in front of Mohan's shop as they were getting ready to go down the stairs to bathe in Mother Ganga. So he had a location. The customers came galore. Now, you've heard of Mother Ganga, I imagine. Mother Ganga, the great river, the greatest of the rivers upon the earth, the river that all souls devoted to their own enlightenment wish to visit at some time in their life. The river that flows down from the Himalayas and feeds the people, feeds the animals, gives them drink, gives them nourishment, and takes their bodies unto her, their cremains unto her being at the time that they leave the earth. Thus the pilgrims came to Mother Ganga. Now, you know, if you're a pilgrim, you're going to Mother Ganga, you're going to stop for only a couple of reasons, right? You know, you might stop to get flowers for your offerings. You might stop to get incense for your offerings. And you might stop to get a shave for your pilgrimage. But there's lots of barbers. How did Mohan become the great barber? The secret, the magic words. Every day, Mohan stood outside of his shop. He'd see the people and he'd say, Namaste, Ji. Namaste, Ji. Ji, the great honorific. No matter the person looked rotund and filled with joy and happiness, or thin and filled with discipline, he always said, Namaste, Ji. And what is the name of your Ishta Ji? What is the name of your Ishta Ji? And he would look carefully and listen with his inner ear and hear them. Sometimes he wouldn't even have to say the words out loud. He could look at them and see. And he would chant, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya. And the Shiva Das would stop. Those devoted to Shiva would stop and they would sing, Shiva, Shiva, Mahadeva, Namah Shivaya, Namah Shivo, Shiva, Shiva, Mahadeva, Namah Shivaya, Sama Shivo. And Mohan and the Shiva Das would chant together. And Mohan would say, would you like a shave? Ah, of course. Come into the shop, get a shave. And then they'd both bow. Om Namah Shivaya. A few minutes go by. Another person comes along the way. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. And the pilgrim, who loved the Lord Ganesh, would dance and be filled with joy and stop and say, Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha, Om Shri Ganeshaji Yanamaha. And Mohan would say, would you like a shave? And they would come in and get a shave and leave. And he'd see a very studious person coming down the street. Om Shri Hanumanji Yanamaha, he would call. Om Shri Hanumanji Yanamaha, Om Shri Hanumanji Yanamaha, Om Shri Hanumanji Yanamaha. And again, joyful sharing and a shave. And then Shri Krishna Govinda Hare Murare Enat Narayana Vasudeva. And the pilgrim attuned to Lord Krishna would come and sit at his feet. Each person was filled with joy because Mohan knew the name of their beloved Ishtadevata. Each person was filled with joy because they felt a kinship with Mohan. And so his business grew. Each person walked out not with just a shave, but with joy, with happiness, because they felt that Mohan understood them. Mohan accepted them. Mohan shared his joy and his love with them. And always they would leave, and as they left, he would say, now the best incense is right next door. And if you want to get flowers to offer Mother Ganga, you go across the street and my friend will help you. Always sharing his joy, always sharing his generosity, always sharing and helping to build the businesses, the livelihood of those who lived around him. Mohan had learned from Shivadas. He knew all the mantra. He knew all of the mantra for all the forms of the divine. He could call them by name. There was not one he could not call by name. He personally didn't have much of a preference. He thought they were all equally good. But he realized that people had a preference, and he wanted to meet their needs, meet them where they were. And so the years went by. And then came the day that Mohan would remember with his last breath in this incarnation. She walked into the shop. She walked into the shop. Now he was kind of daydreaming, you know. Oh. Sun's just risen, and already there's 5 customers I've taken care of, and going to be a good day today. And he doesn't see you. Nice, cool January morning. Going to be comfortable today. He looks up, looks down, and there she is, standing in front of him. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful visage, beautiful young woman. Shiny, glossy black locks down past her knees. Namaste, Chi. She speaks. A shave, please. Oh, my dear, surely you do not wish me to shave those beautiful locks from your head? Ask anything. I will be glad to wash your hair, but please, a shave? Are you sure? Yes, G. A shave, please. Now, as an aside, you may not know, pilgrims often shave their hair at the beginning of the pilgrimage. And Mohan knew this. He knew it didn't matter if you were young, if you were old. You asked for a shave, he was to give you a shave. It was his Dharma, his duty. He was to do it with joy. But oh, she was so beautiful. And oh, her locks were so shiny and so long. He really did not want to give her a shave. So he was a little bit resistant. Couldn't I just braid it for you? I could give you dreadlocks. How about a trim? Just a little trim along the bottom. A shave, please, G. Give me a shave. I have heard that you are the best barber along the whole of the banks of the Ganga. And I have traveled long and far to come. A shave, please. All right. And as Mohan asks her to sit and puts a cloth around her, he looks down, he looks at her face, and all of a sudden, the face of the beautiful young girl. The eyes begin to light. The face is filled with light. Her entire being is filled with light. He can see nothing but the light. He sees Mother Ganga and the light, the elephants dancing upon the water, and Mother Lakshmi rising and dancing with the elephants along the Ganga. His heart is filled with joy. His heart is filled with bliss. His being is filled with Ananda, Ananda, Ananda. And as he gazes upon her eyes, as he gazes into her eyes, he sees in front of him thousands and thousands and hundreds of thousands of beings, all people. And in their hearts, he sees Om Namah Shivaya, Om Shri Hanumanji Namaha, Om Shri Lakshmaye Namaha, Om Shri Gam Ganapataye Namaha, Om Shri Krishna Ji Namaha, Om, Om, Om. And as he gazes upon her eyes and sees millions and billions of beings, of people, of animals, of birds, in their hearts, he sees these forms. And suddenly the forms turn to Jyoti, to light, to flames. And he sees the flame of the light divine within them, the Om shining within their hearts. And that Om rises from the heart, and he sees it rise and fill the sun center in each being. And within her eyes, he sees mirrored back to himself the light divine in his heart, the light that spreads to his sun center. And he is filled with Ananda, Ananda, Ananda. And as he watches, the forms dissolve away. And he sees in front of him this beautiful young woman. And he says to her, "It would be my deep honor to prepare you for your pilgrimage, for your devotion to your Ishtadevata. You have become her. You have shown me through your love, through your devotion, the light that lives within all of us. You have shown me that light, the light divine." And so he cuts her locks and shaves the stubble until her head is smooth. And bowing to her, he says, "You are ready, Ji, for your pilgrimage. May you be blessed." And as she smiles upon him, he sees the locks grow back to their full length. And he sees the form of Lakshmi in front of him, and realizes that Lakshmi has come to visit him. For it is not the young girl, but it is the Divine Mother herself who has come to sit in his barber chair. And she says to him, It is your respect, your devotion to us, to life in all of our forms, that has caused me to come and visit you this day. It is your doing your Dharma with such joy, beginning every day with your tuning. Om Bhur Bhuva Svaha Tat Savitur Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dio Yo Naha Prachodayat. Om. You're attuning to Mother Gayatri, your acceptance of all who come. Mohan, this is what has caused me to come and visit you on this day. This is what has caused me to come and make you aware of that which thou art. It matters not what form you see in front of you. You have seen, Mohan, that all are filled with light. You have seen that all the beings upon the earth are divine. Whether their role at this time is to be kind, or their role is to bring chakos, chaos, unto the world, still within them, hidden, but now clear to you, is the divine which thou art, Mohan. And with this, she leaned over and took her thumb, as is the way, having dipped it in the water of Mother Ganga, and went and blessed him upon the forehead twice, 3 times. And his being was filled with Ananda, filled with the wisdom of the light divine. And with that, she vanished. She vanished. Mohan was a little stunned. Filled with joy. And looked up at the next passerby and said, Namaste, Ji. Who is your Ishta Devata? And for the rest of his days, he honored all of the forms of the divine, but secretly holding in his heart a special place for Lakshmi, for she had come unto him, and in her form, in the form of Lakshmi, had blessed him and healed him and softened the karma. Om Shri Lakshmi Ya Namaha. Om Shri Lakshmi Ya Namaha. Om Shri Lakshmi Ya Namaha. What is your duty at this time? On his 15th birthday, Mohan's duty was to go and study, to become a student, an apprenticeship, if you will. On his 15th birthday, his duty was to thank Mama and Papa and to get up early every morning and to learn from Shivadas. On his 15th year, in his 16th year, in his 17th year, in his 18th year, and all the way to his 28th year, he studied, he learned, his responsibilities grew. And as the heat came, he waved the fan to keep the customers cool, and a little extra for Shivadas. As the rains came, he put the buckets out so the shop would not flood. And as the days went by, he learned the magic words. Who is your Ishta? Ji. He learned the mantra. And then in time, he learned to serve all who entered his aura. But how, my beloved? How did he learn to serve them? He did not say to everyone who came, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya. Only the devotees of Lord Shiva are here. No. Nor did he say, Om Shri Hanumanji Namaha. Only if you are a devotee of Hanumanji are you allowed here. No. He did not say Om Shri Ram, 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 Ram. Only the devotees of Ram are here. He did not say Om Shri Lord Jesus or Om Shri Mother Mary Namaha. No, he did not. He always began by saying, Namaste, Ji. Who is your Ishta Devata? And thus he knew how to serve those who came into his aura in a way that communicated to them the best, in a way that communicated to them most fully and most completely, in a way that allowed him to serve them, to give them what they needed with his being, with his presence, as they needed, not as he preferred, but as they needed, not as he preferred, but as they needed. What does this mean to you? You go to work and you see that the boss is having a very busy day. It's the end of May. The fiscal year's at the end of June. Oh, it's going to be a tough month for the boss, having to do all the work to get the books closed, having to call all the clients to make sure that they've paid their invoices. Yeah. Is this a good time to go ask for a raise? No. You know it's not. You know when the boss has lots of things going on, this is not a good time. What can you do? Why, do your work, the work that you have, with ever greater diligence. Do your work as efficiently as you can. And when you see the boss has a moment, a break, say, is there anything I can do to help? Could I make a phone call? I could call my clients. Tell me how I can help you. You go home and you see your beloved has walked in, having had a hard, busy day also. Tired. He'd like to sit down and do nothing. You'd like to sit down and have someone wait upon you. But no. Instead, you say, how about if I make up dinner tonight? Why don't you rest a little bit? Or your beloved has made the dinner and you say, how about I'll do the dishes tonight? You go rest, go read a book, go play the piano, go play your harp, go listen to music, go take a walk. Do something that you find joyful, my dear. You come home and your little one is so anxious to see you. They want to show you something they made in school. Look at the picture I drew for you. Look at the picture I drew for you. You might not be so anxious to see that. You might just want to sit and take your shoes off. You put down the phone. You don't pick it up when you go in the house, and you say, that's a beautiful picture. Tell me about it. That's a beautiful picture. And you listen with your full attention to your loved ones. You go to the grocery store. You see people behind you as you get in line. The person right behind you is carrying 3 things in their hand. And you've got a basket full. You turn and say, please, go ahead. You go first. I can wait. And make their life a little bit easier. Driving down the expressway, it's been a long commute. The traffic is heavy. And you see somebody coming fast behind you. And you pull over to a slower lane and you let them go by. Let them have precedence. Let them have priority. And so you learn to put your own wants and desires aside, not to be tramped over, but to put the desires away, to focus on that which is truly yourself, to let the divine within you shine forth by sharing, by doing your Dharma at the moment, whatever the Dharma is at this time, at this moment, in this way, in this place. Your Dharma is your duty. Your duty is to live your life as self-aware as you are able, to learn to speak to those people around you, those beings around you, in the language that they understand. Now the plumber comes to Sri Shali Ji to ask a question, and Shali Ji went to the library the day before and took out a book on plumbing and spent the day reading about plumbing. Why? So he could answer the man's mystical questions in a language that the soul would understand. Learn the language that the others speak. Be clear in your communications. Decades ago, I started a new job at a university in the bursar's office, where the students would come and make payments. And they all had to deal with their financial aid. And there were a lot of acronyms that people used. You know what an acronym is? It's when somebody says, I want to get my BEOG. I didn't know what a BEOG was. I didn't know what an SIG was. I didn't know what an NDSL was. And the people in the office use those terms. They'd say, they didn't fill out their FAFSA right. I didn't know what a FAFSA was. And it caused confusion in my mind, caused fear to arise in my mind. I thought, I'm never going to know all these acronyms. I'm never going to know what these words that they're using mean. And there was a soul, a beautiful, beautiful woman named Margaret. And every morning I'd walk into work and she'd say, morning, morning. And you'd answer her, morning, Margaret. And I went to her and said, I don't know what to do. Every time I hear these words I don't understand, it causes me to feel afraid. And I kind of went to her on the side so nobody could hear me. I bless her to this day. She changed her language. And for a few months, she'd say the BEOG, and then she'd say the words that it stood for, or the SEOG and the words that that stood for. And she helped me. She taught me without embarrassing me. She taught me without making fun of me. She taught me by being kind and gentle, and was so open of her heart that it made it easy to go to her and say, I don't know. I find myself confused and I can't remember what they're talking about. I don't know what they're talking about. I don't know the language. And this is what you need to do. Live your Dharma. Live your Dharma as it is at the moment. And this means adjusting, adapting, acclimatizing for the moment that you are in, so that you know, this person will understand me better if I speak this way, if I talk using these words, if I use these examples, if I'm quiet and I don't talk at all. But if I accept them and radiate understanding, and I'm willing to see them in their circumstances and try to be of help in their circumstances as they need the help, not as I wish to give it, but as they need it, as they ask for it, as they request it. And thus I will grow spiritually. I will grow in understanding and wisdom. And so, my beloved, become like Mohan the barber, the one who lives 2 streets off the Ganga, whose shop is between the flower shop and the incense shop. You know Mohan, the one whose shop is right at the top of the stairs. Om Shri Saraswataye Namaha. Om Shri Pataye Namaha. Om Shri Lakshmiye Namaha. Om Shri Vishnuya Namaha. Om Shri Shivaya Namaha. Om Shri Krishna Ya Namaha. Om Shri Buddhaya Namaha. Shri Om. Om Shri Om. Om Shri Om. Yanamaha. May you be blessed. May your life be filled with joy. May your breath be filled with joy. May your moments upon this earth be filled with joy. And when the rocks are rough, when you're walking along the river Ganga and the shore becomes rocky, or there are boulders that you have to climb, turn inward. Be still, be quiet, be lifted. Remember the divine that thou art. And don't forget the great netties, your friends, the great netties. And if you know not of what I speak, why listen to the story of Ta, Dorothea, and the netties. Namaste, my beloved. Namaste.